Welcome back. In today's Sunday Spotlight, supporting the mental health of teenagers by supporting their parents and guardians. A study out of Harvard addresses the importance of caring for the caregivers of teens. Dr. Richard Weissbourd is the co-author of the study and a senior lecturer on education at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. He joins us from Cambridge. Thank you so much for being with us. How did you get into this topic?
It's great to be here. Thank you. We've been doing research on the sources of teens' mental health challenges over the last couple of years, doing focus groups and interviews, and we just did a big national survey. And one of the things that I worry about in our discussion about teens is that we kind of pluck them out of their families or extract them from their families when we know that, families' mental health is really important for teens' mental health. So we decided to survey both teens and parents about their mental health needs. And essentially what we found is that parents are suffering anxiety and depression at about the same rate as teens are. So we would be just as right to sound an alarm about parents' mental health as we would be to sound an alarm about teens' mental health.
Well, and certainly some of the numbers, you talked about it being similar as you look at a child and a male caregiver and a female or mom or dad, but a third of teens had at least one parent who reported anxiety or depression, and almost 40% reported being at least somewhat worried about the mental health of a caregiver. As someone who does this for a living, Dr. Weissbourd, are you worried about that?
I am worried. I'm worried because I think that depression and anxiety can really compromise your capacity to parent. I know I am lucky. I've never suffered a severe depression, but I'm an anxious person. I've suffered mild depression. It's harder to parent when you are anxious or depressed. It's hard to be focused. It's harder to listen. You can be moody. You can be irritable. You can be, quicker to anger. So, and, our study, also shows that depressed teens are about 5 times more likely to have depressed parents. Anxious teens are about 3 times more likely to have anxious parents. And so I do worry about it, I guess, but I want to emphasize one other point, though, which is that, parents who suffer depression and anxiety often develop a lot of wisdom about it. They have a lot of experience with it. They develop coping strategies. They can model healthy ways of dealing with it with their kids. So, there's a way that depressed and anxious parents can be very helpful to their kids when they're feeling down or blue or anxious or in danger of serious depression. And we just have to equip and support parents to play that constructive role.
Well, I saw a line in researching you to prepare for this. You said that you want to put these teens in mentor-rich environments. And I thought that's a great way to put it, because maybe it's mom, maybe it's dad, maybe it's somebody else within their community, but to have that coping skill from someone who could be a good mentor must be an important outcome as we look at this, right?
Yeah, and I really appreciate you picking that up, Eric, because that's a very important part of this report. And, there are a lot of programs that try to do one-on-one mentoring. They try and match a mentor with a young person. Some of those are wonderful programs, but sometimes those matches don't take. They're not for a variety of reasons. The teen moves, the mentor moves, but also emotionally, they don't make a connection. And so, I think what we think about is, preparing a range of adults to engage teens about important topics, including emotional topics, a range of, teachers, school nurses, sport coaches, after-school providers, faith-based folks. We all can play a role here in being mentors to teens.
One of the things that we've had covered in a variety of different topics on this show is the idea that we need to do more, and you sort of alluded to it, for teens' mental health. But it sounds like that may only just be the part of the puzzle. So what's the takeaway as we look at these numbers? Is it that we need to do both, look at the teens and the parents? Is it focus more on the parents and hope it helps the teens? How do you take these findings that you put together in this wonderful report and run with it?
Yeah, no, it's I think the answer, and I'm sorry to say this because I know means this is work, but it is both. That we have to do work with teens. We have a terrible shortage of mental health providers for teens in many parts of the country. But beyond that, we just have to do more to prevent these problems. We can't just we can't medicate or therapize our way out of this problem. And by prevention, we have to create strong school communities. We have to create strong after-school programs where students feel, where young people feel connected and develop a sense of meaning and purpose. I mean, the prevention work, I think, is critical here. And part of prevention is also supporting parents. And for parents' own sake, and because they're so critical to their kids' development, we also need to focus on parents who are isolated and connecting them to other parents. We need to make sure that more parents have information about coping strategies when they're feeling anxious and depressed. And we need to create more treatment options for parents.
So a lot of that, of course, would be on the macro to try to get, say, the legislature to put in a new program here in Connecticut or a school district to change something. But as we get ready to head back to school here in Connecticut this week, Dr. Weissbourd, what would you say on the micro? What if someone's just watching and saying, what steps can I take with my own child or within my own community to help?
Yeah. So, I think with teens, one of the things that we hear from teens a lot in our focus groups, in our interviews, but also in our survey, is they really just want parents to listen to them. One teen said, I don't want parents to look at me through the keyhole in my bedroom. I want them to open the door and really listen to me. And, this can be hard as a parent. I'm a parent of 3 kids. And when you're feeling anxious or you're worried about your kids, it can be hard not to jump in and try and fix things. It can be hard sometimes to fully absorb that your kid is really suffering. But the degree to which we can approach our kids with openness and curiosity and really listen is going to, and brainstorm with them solutions when they're feeling anxious or depressed, we're going to be much more helpful to them. I also think we have to equip ourselves with some basic information about what anxiety is, what depression is, basic strategies for coping with it, healthy eating habits, healthy sleeping habits, mindfulness, meditation, cognitive behavioral practices, some basic tools for helping teens when they're feeling anxious and depressed. So those were the things that I would emphasize.
We only have about 30 seconds left. I just want to leave you with this. If you had, one takeaway from this report, a lot of our viewers will hear it from you, but probably not download it and read it. 15, 20 seconds, what would you say the takeaway is?
I would say listen to your kids is a big takeaway. And a second takeaway is take care of yourself as a parent. And, that means maintaining your friendships, getting exercise, healthy sleep habits. It's important for you. You're worthwhile, but it's also going to make you a better parent.
Well, certainly some great advice, Dr. Richard Weissbourd from the Harvard Graduate School of Education and also the Making Caring Common Project. We appreciate you being with us. That is CT23 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll meet you back here in Studio B next Sunday morning.